How can the Rockets turn it around?
Get 2 more stars. This is how the
stars at
Rockets
that.
could. Right, yeah, star. Well, this is how the Rockets can turn it around, if they're going to turn it around. They need to send another defender at KD. And I know that Mike D'Antoni sort of addressed that. Hey, are you getting killed in the switches? Well, I mean, KD's killing you in your switch. Well, he's going to kill us another way if we don't. So maybe, and by the way, you send another defender at KD. He's a capable passer, and you know you may get beaten by someone else. But clearly, he has made his case. You can't let him beat you. You got to devote more resources to him. Also, when one player is dominating the ball the way Harden does and the way CP3 is capable, you got to run action off ball. You know, you got to have guys moving. They could also be sending Capella as more of a lob threat. There are things that D'Antoni can do to better utilize the pieces he has, I think. But obviously, the Warriors have made their case. They are the more talented team. They're the longer, more talented team. They move the ball better, and they have more stars. The Rockets' role players, again, even with everything I just said, even if you give the role players a little better chance to hit those shots, because the Warriors' defense was part of the reason they weren't hitting those shots. They played really good defense on those role players. Nevertheless, you can't go 5 for 24. Even if what I just suggested doesn't happen, or they try something else and it doesn't work, the role players must hit shots. It is a make or miss league, Will, as I said earlier in the show. And by the way, with everything that we've been saying, if the role players, instead of going 5 for 24, they don't have to hit 50%, even hit 8 or 9 of those shots, that's maybe a one-possession game at the end. They must hit shots.
Right, and our disagreement was on whether or not James Harden can do more to help them out get better shots. Or actually, can he do less to help them get better shots? Do less on his own, more for the team. Let me ask you an honest question before I tell you what I think my prescription is for the Rockets here. When you say, and you kind of joked about it, but at the top you said, get 2 more stars, right? I agree with that. When Molly asks us, what can the Rockets do? The answer is there's really not much they can do because they just don't have the firepower. They don't have enough great players. But you said get 2 more stars, so we're on the same page. But you also, and I'm really not picking at you here, I'm curious, you also picked the Rockets, right? You took them in 7. So you got to believe there is a formula. You got to believe with what they have, there is a way to win.
Since you're asking an honest question, I'll give you an honest answer.
Yeah.
The Rockets have role players, but I see 2 of them as role player plus, maybe even plus plus. In other words, under other circumstances, maybe they'd be stars, or maybe one of them is on his way to being a star, and I will give you their identities. Eric Gordon and Clint Capella. Those 2 guys are different than your typical role player. Gordon has been a guy who, early in his career, if you squinted, you thought maybe you saw an all-star, but certainly a guy who had things broken a little differently in his career, especially with injury. Maybe you even think could be the 3rd wheel on a big 3. And Capella may be trending in that direction. So I don't see the Rockets quite as a 2-star team with just a bunch of role players. I see 2 of their role players as being a little overqualified for those roles. Well, and so I view them as having their own kind of version of a big 4, even if it's not quite a big 4.
I'm still being honest. I'm still not picking at you here, Max. I think we found the source of your okie doke then. You said a little bit earlier, if I fell for the okie doke, there was the okie doke. You falling for the idea that Eric Gordon and Clint Capella could be stars that would help put them over the Golden State Warriors was your major miscalculation, because you can just go across the board, right? KD better than James Harden. Steph better than Chris Paul. Draymond better than Clint Capella. Clay, Eric Gordon, do I need to even finish that sentence? Every step of the way, not enough firepower, not enough chemistry, not enough passing, not enough defense to match the Warriors. So the true answer is there's nothing they can do.